Good day, Professor Frankie and friends. I'm Victoria, and these are my teammates, Yuping, Abby, Adam, Pauline, and Ariana. Today, we'll be presenting our work for Project 2. The job that we chose for this project is a social media content creator for the Walt Disney Company Southeast Asia Private Limited. Today, for this project, we will be identifying the knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics, KSAOs, as necessary for this job to plan formal socialization and training for newly selected employees. The knowledge, skills, and abilities and other characteristics are the attributes required to perform a job. So I'll be talking about the KSAOs associated with this job as a social media content creator. Firstly, we will require the employee to have extensive knowledge of social media trends as it is important to understand the kind of content that will have a bigger reach. Basic knowledge of Disney products would be important as this shows interest and prior research on their part. English proficiency is crucial as it is the language of international communication. Additionally, being proficient in other ASEAN languages would be beneficial as this job may require content of those languages to be produced. Proficiency in the use of PowerPoint, Word, and Excel are basic requirements on any job to be able to effectively get your idea and project across. And basic skills in data analytics are important to the research of which ideas are effective and which aren't. The employee must be proficient in using editing software, as editing content takes up the bulk of this job, and being able to edit photos and videos are essential. Proficiency in navigating social media platforms is a basic requirement for this job, as you have to be familiar with the platform that you are going to market on. Next, communication and empathy are some of the abilities the employee must possess when working with teams to ensure productivity and better performance. The candidate must also possess a marketing, communication, or any media-related educational background, as well as 2 years of relevant experience. Since Disney is such a big company, we would need someone experienced on the job. Some other characteristics would be having creativity, being detail-oriented and adaptable, as these are crucial in producing content on a regular basis. Next, Ariana will be talking more about how to assess these KSAOs.
Thank you, Victoria. Our group has come up with 3 components to assess if the candidates have the KSAOs that we require for the job: a written and verbal interview, group discussions, and individual work. In the written section, candidates will be given a form to fill out. The form will require the candidate to fill in the required information such as the candidate's full name, education qualifications, and their language proficiency amongst others, ensuring that candidates have the characteristics and basic knowledge to hold the job position. In the verbal interview section, questions such as how would you create content and market for Disney's products will be asked. This will allow us to better gauge the language proficiency of the candidates, as well as ensure that they have both marketing knowledge and a general idea of Disney's past products. Based on how the candidates act, interviewers can also get a sense of the communication skills of the candidates. For the group discussion section, each group of 3 will be given the task of planning a social media campaign based on the current popular social media trends. Candidates who speak out and voice out current trends will have displayed knowledge of social media trends. In addition, we will be able to observe and ensure that any successful applicant will be able to work well in a team setting. Besides knowledge, we will also be looking for important abilities such as empathy and optimism, which are key abilities in being a successful social media content creator. The last component that we have is the individual work. In this component, candidates will be able to take on the role of a social media content creator and create a number of fake Instagram posts to be emailed to the Human Resource Department of the Walt Disney Company Southeast Asia Private Limited. This component will take up the duration of 1 week. We have decided to give candidates the task of promoting the upcoming Black Widow movie. At the end of the first day, candidates are required to submit their first Instagram post. Here is one such example of a submission. Candidates will receive an email like this every day of the project. This communicates social media indicators such as likes and comments, and candidates are required to display basic data analytics skills to gauge the public reaction to the promotion campaign. Tests of important values such as wit and social awareness will surface through the comments such as "DC is better than Marvel," and the candidate's reaction to this will be evaluated. Due to the COVID situation, all of these components will be held online. Together, these 3 methods of assessment will best assess the KSAOs that we require of a social media content creator and ensure that the candidate that we hire is a good fit for the role. I will now pass the time on to Adam to evaluate these assessment methods that we have chosen.
Challenges that we feel are common in interviews is that candidates usually exaggerate in order to come across as more appealing to us to increase the chances of being hired. Unfortunately, this can often lead to misjudgment by us as interviewers, as we tend to give them the benefit of the doubt. It is very resource intensive for us to conduct background checks on the candidates beforehand. And 2 people instead of 1 to conduct the interview, as it is important for us to ensure a fair judgment devoid of any personal preference. For group discussions, we feel that the portrayal of self might be feigned in the sense where the candidates can put on a show to show more confidence and a persona that they are not in order to seem more appealing for us, which isn't fair to their true self. And for individual work, Discipline is needed to be determined due to plagiarism or dishonesty. For pros and cons, we feel that for interviews, it is very time-consuming. Usually, a session will last between half an hour to an hour. But the benefit of this is that it is a quick way for us to assess a candidate's knowledge, skill, and/or character. For group discussions, we feel that it tends to be not comprehensive and is very time-consuming as well. But the pros for this is that it allows us to assess characteristics not easily measured in other alternative forms of evaluation, which gives us a unique insight into who fits into the company culture and who might perform well under stress. And for individual work, a con is that it is open to misinterpretation to the instructions of task. We might have a specific set of perception, while the employees might have another set of vision for it. But the benefits for this is that it is time efficient, there is proper documentation, and we can clearly see the quality of work that can be expected. And now Abby will be taking you through the orientation of successful applicants.
Okay, before we move into orientating a successful applicant to be an active employee, let's get an idea of a typical organization that will hire a social media content creator. The organization can be creative as they are open to venturing into new ideas. The organization would need a social content creator to engage with internal and external stakeholders on it. Being fun and innovative in their working areas, organization would place great emphasis on employee personal growth such that employees will be motivated and see a purpose in their work. Last but not least, a bottom-up structure would encourage the above present cultures. A social media content creator would likely be hired in such an environment because of the ever-changing nature of social media, outreach, and constant product change for an entertainment industry. Next, I'll be moving on to being an active employee at Disney. We came up with a formal structure in orientating the successful applicant. We hope to introduce Disney as a whole to the employee, and by understanding the company's culture, he or she would better align his or her work ethics with Disney. Taking a tour around the company can get them to familiarize with their working ground, and we see the importance in introducing he or she to their colleagues and possibly introduce a mentorship buddy system because this will give an assurance to the successful applicant that they are kind of not alone in their new role. Last two processes are greatly linked. Support is included to help the applicant be proficient with Disney's standard procedure, in short SOP, and systems intended for work efficiency and clarity. I'll be passing my time over to Pauline to share more about the importance of KSAO.
Thank you, Abby. Now I'll move on to talk about which employee KSAO is the most crucial for the progress of Walt Disney. We have decided for abilities to be the most important element of KSAO, as it is the most stable characteristic that include brain-based skills such as empathy, and that is not something that can be nurtured in a short period of time. Abilities often tend to be applicable in the long term as opposed to skills and knowledge, which require more efforts to sustain the level of competency. Most importantly, it helps us to meet Disney long-term strategic goals of being the leading producers of the globe. With time and training, all elements of KSAO can be built on. The easiest to train are the technical skills, which can be classified under skills and knowledge. By engaging in corporate volunteering, employees will be given the opportunity to build on their abilities and other characteristics such as stronger team bond. Given the job requirement and the volatile and competitive nature of the industry, the most important element to build on at present is skills. In order to bring out knowledge, proper skills have to be displayed. Technical skills require a constant need to update and upgrade. Keeping up to date with the latest advancement will be necessary to ensure high quality to perform work. Learning new skills that may deem objectively better than incumbent ones would also help strengthen the business environment against the increasing number of streaming and social media platforms. Now I will pass on the time to Yu Ping.
Thank you, Pauline. So I'll be elaborating on how training at Disney could further enhance existing KSAOs with training to further nurture employees. Firstly, workshops could be utilized as a platform to educate a larger group of employees, while personal skill training could be conducted to guide and train employees to a desired level which fits the KSAO of the individual. Lastly, as mentioned, corporate volunteering is crucial in developing the abilities of employees as well. So as an example, Disney will host an annual workshop to align and update the crucial KSAOs of employees. Usually these workshops will be 3 days long and done at in-house Disney conference halls. Furthermore, the necessity of workshops would be employee-driven, where if deemed necessary, there could even be additional workshops. So this brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for joining us.